please.
I move to accept.
Second?
Second, Commissioner Berquist.
Okay. Any discussion regarding the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Accepted, pass. Okay, we're gonna go a little bit out of sequence, I know. That's gonna play to go and other things, so we're gonna go to the new business. We'll jump down to the mandatory continuing ed course approval. Now, DCP has approved this course. I'm on the assumption, though, nothing was mentioned. Were there any changes to it?
First of
Jason?
all, I'd like to thank the three of you who put in the time to work on this. So thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah, I second that.
I third it.
Thanks.
Everybody was great on the committee and have been great. And I thank them. Were there any changes? Is Jason here today?
I am. Changes from
Well,
what?
from
From
the,
when?
we sent it to DCP for approval. I'm on the assumption there was no changes and you just approved it. Am I correct?
I mean, I'm not sure of the timing. Certainly, Kristen shared a version with us that we provided feedback and she made enhancements. Whether or not that went back to the committee, I don't know.
Okay. I don't think there were any changes because I think Kristen would have brought it up if there were, unless it was a typo or whatever, but I don't think there was any changes. So, and actually the Sharon and Amy and myself would have been involved in any changes and there wasn't any. Am I correct, Sharon and Amy?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything,
Yeah.
any changes, nothing has come to us.
Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
Right,
Oh.
Amy? We didn't see
Yeah, we
anything.
haven't received any emails with updates or anything.
okay. I just want to confirm I could have missed it for some reason. So anyhow, I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Okay, and second?
Second.
All right, discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody oppose? Accepted and passed. 26,
Can,
20,
I do
This
have a
is-
question. Is this approved for, again, just live in person and live online?
Hmm.
I don't know if we approve it. We approved it that way.
Right,
I
so
don't
that's
think
what
so.
you guys, that's what happened with last cycle. It was approved specifically for live, only, so live online or live in person. But the cycle before that was approved to be, asynchronous. So I just wanted to check in to see how we're, approving this cycle.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead, Rochelle, again. How was it approved last time?
So for this previous cycle, it was approved for just live format, so live online or live in person. But the cycle before that, it was approved to be offered asynchronous as well. So I just
But
wanted to clarify.
If I recall, though, there wasn't a reason why that was done. There was a time, there was something, there was a reason why it was done that way.
Which one, Ben?
The,
The asynchronous,
Yeah, yes, the previous
COVID.
asynchronous. I think perhaps maybe we should think about that. We can always go back and approve it. How has to be done. I think that, the big problem we're having, it's gonna happen right now, and I can see it coming, is that even if they're aware of the fact that the time dates have changed, they're still waiting till the last second. And then we have, COVID coming in and whatever excuse there is, colds and whatever, and then they can't do it and whatever. What's your feeling about it? Commissioners?
I think
I
it
would
should be
think
live.
I would think that whatever decision you make, like they're gonna go with that now, because I think once we've approved this, they start the process of training the trainers and everything else. So I think we have to make a decision now. I don't know that we can wait based on this happening previously. I mean, obviously DCP can speak to that or not, but I don't know how much additional time we have before they start all of the train the trainer sessions and everything, once this is approved.
What's I like to have DCP's input on it. They're the one that's. Jill? I see your hands up. You're muted.
Good morning. Yes, good morning. I have had I've had quite a few calls of people trying to get the live course, and they also want in person, but there doesn't seem to be enough courses live and in person offered right now. I know
Jill, are we
schools
talking-
that
Let's keep it separate. Are we talking about the mandatory? Or are we talking about?
we're talking about the current mandatory. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that's happening right now, that people are trying to find live or in person, and they're having a really hard time because, as we know, most of the people, the licensees, are going to wait until the last minute, which is
Yeah.
what's happening. And I had a couple schools call me and say, what should we do? We're getting like 100 people into our class. We have to put on other moderators. The classes are big. And there's a prediction, not my prediction, I'm not going to say who said, but somebody said they predict there'll be about 10,000 people that won't be able to complete by the deadline, by the end of February, for the salespeople right now.
I think I got a call from Jeff Weiss this morning, by the way, regarding this, and his feelings that there's just not enough teachers.
Yeah.
Well,
Administrators.
I think the schools,
Administrators.
the schools like the asynchronous because it just runs by itself. But what's happening is, like right now, I think the CE shop has like one this month and another one towards the end of the month, but that's it. I mean, there's not a lot of availability. And I've had quite, I'm not gonna say a lot, I've had quite a few calls from licensees wanting in person. They want, and I don't have any way of helping them with that. I tell them to go to their real estate board. But again, a lot of these people don't belong to a real estate board. They hold their own personal broker's license, and they're not really doing too much, but they're having trouble finding courses. And I've gone on and looked myself, and it's going to be a problem because these people are going to get hit with fines of, I think it's like $315 if you're late. And then it goes up if if you don't get it in the next. And the thing is, going forward, if somebody doesn't license like right now and they want to reinstate in 2 years and they haven't done the CE, where are they going to find a live course on a mandatory? No one's going to be teaching it.
Hmm.
We're already
I
finding that
also
when
like.
it was
I
a
mean-
2-year, and now we have a 3-year to reinstate. When it was 2 years to reinstate, we'd have trouble finding people that would still offer the mandatory. So, I mean, we're really in a predicament here with this.
I mean, I also like that we're supporting different learning styles. Some people have very tough experiences in school. They've got, anxiety about it. And it's nice that they can learn at their own pace in an untimed way. Some people have extreme test anxiety. And with some of these other courses, you can take the test and you can take it again until you get, the goal is for them to learn the material, I believe. I mean, the goal is not to trick people. The goal is for them to learn the material and retain the material. My point is, sorry, I'm in favor of offering it in as many different ways as we can to accommodate as many different learners as we can.
Sharon?
So just as clarification, there's no testing in this. There's no test provided. I mean, I guess if it's in person, there's no testing provided. They're just giving information to you. So it's not, it's not a high stakes environment. But I do think that we are essentially having logistical problems getting this implemented because we know that everyone waits until the very end, and then it's impossible for them to actually get the class, and then they complain or ask for a waiver for the fine that they're going to be getting because they haven't been able to take the class. So, I don't know how we it doesn't seem like we are able to change people's behaviors to get them to take the class earlier in the 2-year cycle. So I don't see how we overcome this problem without allowing it being taken asynchronously. Like, I really just, I don't, given people's behavior, I don't think we can change it.
So you're
I also
for it.
wonder if there's an
So are you
instructor
for it?
shortage that there's so few classes. Sorry.
Are you for it then, Amy?
There's,
I mean, I think from a practical standpoint, yes, I have to be for asynchronous learning. Obviously, I think in person is better, whether it's via a Zoom call or, at your local board. I think that's fine. And I do think that still needs to be offered to people. But I just, from a practical sense, I don't think you're going to be able to cover everybody. And then, if you have 10,000 licensees who are like, well, I wasn't able to take it because you gave me until this date, but then there was no availability, do they have like a legal claim against us that we've created a hardship for them that disallows them to take the required education that we need from them? So, I don't, that's a question for somebody else to answer, but I would think that that becomes a possible avenue too.
Well, I'm not so sure about that hardship thing, but anyhow, but you're for it. And Sharon, Sharon's actually is an instructor too.
well, I just find it like we're making, they have 2 years to take the course. And then at the end, it's last minute. I get that as much as I'm opposed to making that accommodation. I think it makes everyone's life easier if it is available. And what Jill stated about so many do wait till the last minute and the classes aren't available, it may come back to bite us. So,
Well, although you saw what happened last time around, where we had everybody coming in front of us asking for an exception.
asking, mhm.
Yeah. So we may eliminate a lot of that. Morat,
And the
what do you
cla-
think? What do you think about it? You're muted, I
As a
think.
non-professional, I do believe that the more options that are available to people is a good thing. But I also think that if there's a 2-year period in which these classes can be taken, the individuals involved have to be a little bit more responsible. Maybe we have to put out more reminders during the year and stimulate the schools to do more outreach. But I can understand, I can't see 10,000 people coming to us for waivers. That would not be fun.
Jason?
Yeah, I mean, to her point, I think we need to put a little more of the onus on the brokers to make sure their agents are complying. There's a lot fewer of them, and obviously they're responsible for their salespeople. And we already do, certainly if there's an infraction, we penalize the broker. But there may be something to consider down the road where if the salesperson has to pay a late fee, somehow the broker is also responsible. But that's just further consideration.
I agree with you, and I think when we're practical, this is not gonna be easy. Ever since Team, I don't know if you realize it, since Team became a big deal, is that the broker has bowed out a little bit of his responsibility, leaving it up to the team leaders, which he or she is not going to do with it, enforce this. So I'm leaning myself, is the fact is give the option of out there to as many option that these people can take the courses, as Peter said and Amy. I just don't think it's going to change. Is Ted, can you hear me, Ted?
He's muted.
Ted, can you give us your opinion? You're muted. Okay.
Star six.
We do have enough here for a quorum if we want to. Vote on this. I would need a motion. And I need a second, and we'll discuss it again.
Ted's trying to talk. Somebody, Ted, in the lower
Ted,
corner of your,
Or the upper corner, it says Mike, MIC, you can just click that on. Do you see that in the upper corner, the upper right
Yeah.
corner?
and mine is in the lower left.
Rochelle, can you do it for him on the back end?
No, I cannot.
Oh, you can't.
While Ted's trying to figure that out, I just want to
Go ahead,
add
Jim.
to my previous comment. I mean, while I do think there's some responsibility there, I do support the asynchronous.
Okay. Thank you.
I have input then.
How about you, Jill?
I support it because, I've been a broker for many, many years, and I also always waited till the end. I don't know why, but courses were always available, and that's when we had to do them in person. But I have people calling saying, I have a full-time job, but I hold a license and all the classes are during the day. And I really see the hardship for licensees. I do. And I know a lot of the asynchronous courses, you do have to do little things along the way to stay in. You have to answer some questions. There's stuff that pops up. It's not just plug it and go.
Jill, will those courses will come to us for approval, correct?
Well, they go through the our regular
DCP.
approval system. Yeah.
That said, we don't review the actual course. We review the content and the syllabus and all that. We don't watch the video if it's an asynchronous.
For
We don't physically test out the course. But and there's no current requirement for that interactivity that Jill mentioned. That most of them do, but that's not a requirement.
Not required. But we can pop on the
There are
course,
those
you know.
required to clarify.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please?
Is there a motion required
Yeah.
to, all right. So
Yes.
moved.
Please make the motion though fully. Amy
I
or
make a
Sheila?
motion to allow the required coursework to be presented asynchronously and live and in person or via Zoom.
Including the mandatory
Second.
course? I think
I'll second that.
Excuse me, including the mandatory course?
Yes,
Talking about
for
the mandatory-
yes,
Oh,
for the
we have-
mandatory course. I thought we were only talking about the mandatory course at this
Well, no,
point.
let's be specific, okay, in this case.
Well,
Okay, so
No,
for the
it is just a
mandatory course for
mandatory
the
course.
2026-2028 cycle, it's allowed
Okay.
to be presented asynchronously as well as in person.
Very good. Second, I need somebody to second, please.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? It passes, accepted, okay? So we'll get that out. Hopefully this will work and help the department out, actually. All right, I'm going to do,
So one further question though, do we know what's going to happen when these 10,000 licensees haven't taken the course as of February 28th? What happens then? They all get fined the $300?
it is what it is.
Okay,
Jay, I don't know if maybe, the department, we might be able to reach out to the schools and try to have them schedule a few more dates between now and the end of the month to try to help with that. But yeah, and unfortunately, I think it's gonna be, they get it done in time, or, it's gonna be late.
Should we be passing the synchronized course for the current course that's not approved for that?
Meaning, should we go back and allow the current cycle to be asynchronous? Is that what you mean?
24, 26, yeah. Because remember, I don't believe, no, I know, we didn't approve it for synchronous.
Yeah, so we didn't
Teresa?
approve it previously. So do any of the schools actually have this
I have
course
it,
done asynchronously? They probably don't.
I
Yeah.
think, just as Jill, I think there's a couple schools that have it and they're just using it and they're speaking with it, with their slides, but I don't think anybody has
Created that.
created it. But, I think we're going to be looking at probably some, possibly waivers for just the mandatory course or add an extension to it at one point. I don't know.
Yeah, I
We'll
mean,
have to wait
every
and
other
see.
course besides mandatory is allowed asynchronously, correct?
Yes.
So,
The
so if you have a licensee that's done 9 hours and just has the one required course left, then,
Yeah.
potentially if we have to, you could do a waiver if, we get all these complaints coming up after
Yeah.
February 28th. But if people still haven't done 2 other classes, then no, it's tough luck. I mean, okay,
Well,
so is
then
that just a bridge we cross when we get to it?
But with whatever it is, the question is that we've got to be consistent what we're going to be doing. So Jason, you have something to say? You have something to say?
No, I was just gonna say, which I
Oh.
think Jill said, that I don't think they would be prepared to offer it on such short notice. I could be
Okay.
wrong, but I mean, if you wanted to, you could potentially allow it, and then if anybody chooses to and they're able to get it up and running within a week or so, then it's an option. So I mean, I suppose it doesn't hurt to say you're gonna now allow it for the remainder of this cycle.
And just to kind of piggyback, that would allow for reinstatements in the future, because they're going to have to take that course to reinstate. And if they're not offering it live anymore, then there's not going to be a way for them to take the course. So
Great point. Great point.
I feel like we should proactively do that then, Ben.
You want to prove it?
Yeah, because I think Jill has a very valid point that what happens when, if people aren't active for 2 years and then they come back, they're never going to be able to find that class taught in person.
What about, okay, so let's make a
And so
motion.
maybe we use this as like a lesson learned that we should not do in person only.
Well,
No, I agree. Like, people need to change their behavior, and that's why we're in this situation, but people don't change their behavior. So
that's.
here we are.
We've
And
been
the
trying
schools,
that. Yeah.
the
I just wanna
schools
say
are
one
going to
more
be
thing.
teaching.
I
I'm
had
sorry.
I had asked a couple of schools over the last few years to keep our mandatory in their records, because I have people that call me and say, I'm trying to reinstate. I can't find the class. It's not offered anywhere. So I do know of a couple schools that always they'll just keep it active. But the 3-year is really going to be difficult for some of these. And then we also do it earlier now. There's just so many nuances with our CE over the last, 5 years. So I think it's a good idea personally, and cut down on my calls too.
All right, I think it's a good idea that we do approve it for the 24-26 cycle.
Okay,
I will
so-
need- I need a motion. Let's not get confused, 24-26.
I'll make a motion to allow asynchronous teaching of the mandatory continuing education 2024-2026 class, in addition to the already allowed in-person teaching of that class.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who's somebody's? I have a hand, somebody's hand up. I don't know what it is.
Can they
I think
unmute
you're-
themselves?
You're
They have to
muted,
unmute
muted.
themselves.
You're muted, yeah. Hello? Okay,
That's 7989544. Who is that?
yeah, the last.
From the phone, you have to hit *6 to unmute. Oh, looks like we got it. Sorry.
I unmuted them. I
Yeah,
don't know how.
thank you. This is Linda.
Oh, Linda Burnham.
Linda.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Linda.
Perfect.
Is that
Yeah,
you,
this
Linda?
is the phone system keeps muting me. I don't know why, but that's why I haven't been able to get through.
Did you have something to say, Linda?
No, I'm okay, Ben. I'm good.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
No, that's all right. It was,
all right, we're still in discussions.
So will the
Okay.
schools now be notified that they can retroactively create that 2024-2026 class asynchronously if they choose to and make it available? Like, does DCP notify them of that?
I think
Yeah,
it's
we
the
can send out a
DCP's
notification.
responsibility, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Oppose? Then it passes. Okay. Hopefully this will help. Okay, there is one individual, waiving the request for continuing education waiver. Is he here?
The active military.
Yeah, they are not in attendance, but it was a waiver due to military leave was the
Oh, yeah,
request.
yeah, okay. So make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve their request.
Second,
I'll
Second.
second that. Okay, Ted's got
okay,
it.
Amy seconded it. Okay, all in, discussion, all in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
opposed?
hi.
Okay, it's wavered. Second. All right, complaints, status. I love the graph here. You know, this has been going on since, I think it was Richard Mahoney, who was used to do this for us. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the main reasons why we have this is because we want to know exactly what consistently it comes up as a problem. This tells us really nothing when individuals, what exactly how it's solved and how it's closed and whatever. I don't even care about the fines or of what transpired, except that the complaint itself. For a while there, a lot of it was about agency issues. They were coming up a lot. These are things that we kind of need to know and work as perhaps in our continuing ed. But we want to know exactly what's going on. There's all these complaints and things. I mean, I remember our meetings were 3-hour meetings all the time, and we would be discussing some of these things. We have no discussion whatsoever any longer. It never gets to the commission, and hasn't been for some time. Not that we know something's got to be going on, but we don't know what's going on and how it's closed. So what can we do here? I realize you can't discuss open, but I guess my main concern is that the closed ones, what are the problems? There had to be a problem. It's closed. The problem is closed. Jason, you wanted to talk about it?
I mean, it's most of it is the same old stuff, but the real issues or the current issues that we see on near daily basis are wholesaling. I mean, that's just the scourge that is growing and growing. We see lots and lots of CAM cases. But as far as the specific issues that we find violations for salespeople and brokers, You know, that there's been, you know, a lot of advertising stuff, you know, with those rule changes, but it seems to be settling down. And, you know, some misrepresentation of, you know, the material facts about a home. I don't know, Jill, if you're seeing anything different, but I mean, those seem to be the primary issues.
Yeah, primarily it is the misrepresentation, or it could be, you know, we have things with deposits. We have, you know, not being returned in a timely fashion. Square footage off, you know,
Yeah,
things
but
like that.
But these are the things, for example, misrepresentation. Misrepresentation by the agent, the agency, or the consumer, or the buyer, or the seller. Who's doing misrepresentation?
Well, it's probably the agent. It's the agent, because if you look at the property and you see something like maybe there's an extra bedroom that's somewhere in the house, or a bathroom, and you're listing it as such, when the street card in the town doesn't have it permitted. So maybe somebody finished an area that wasn't finished, and now it is. So they're offering the extra square footage, the extra bedroom, the extra bathroom, and it's really not what the town, you know, there isn't any permits for that work that was done.
So the square footage that they're adding is illegal.
Right. But I mean, it shows that it's 2,400 square feet when maybe it's 2,300 square feet, or even, you know, smaller. Maybe it's 2,000 square feet. Yeah. So those kinds of things. And, you know, a lot of the contracts are really sloppy too. The way they're written, people aren't putting, like, if you have something, you want to have a date attached to it. If it's subject to anything, it should always have a date attached to it. You know, we don't look at we don't do contract law, but that all comes into play. Because agents write contracts, and, you know, it'd be nice to have a course on contracts for licensees, whether it's an elective or mandatory, because there's a lot of gray area there. And they're not attorneys, they're writing contracts, and they need to follow that contract with whoever they represent. Make sure, you know, deadlines are met. You know, if there's a second deposit, if there's a home inspection, those kinds of things.
Should they be writing contracts? I make it my policy. I never write a contract, because I believe
Well,
that's practicing law. I won't touch it.
It's really different area. Like I know our people just above us in Massachusetts, they don't write the contracts. The attorneys, they do a binder, a one-page binder, and then the attorney writes the contracts. But there's just as many mess up in those contracts too, even though the attorneys are writing them, because they don't know all the little things with the buyer,
but
what they want. I mean, there's a lot of
But
stuff.
that, at least an attorney's handling it. That's, you know, at least it's been handled by someone who's supposed to
Yeah.
be doing that. That's a different problem. That's not that's a different problem. That's not for us. Also, with the wholesaling, who's wholesaling, agents or non-agents?
That's
Both.
my question as well. Yeah.
It's both.
It's both.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
it's
to
not-
me, wholesaling,
it's-
if an agent's doing it, I don't see how that's not a net
It
listing.
should be disallowed. It should be
Right,
completely
well,
disallowed.
it's a loophole because they're not representing them. They may hold a license, but they're not representing them. So I agree that this whole thing should be banned, but that's not the law that the legislators have put in place beginning July 1st.
But it's implied representation, because they go in and make an offer on your property, and then they say, we're going to list it. That's implied representation. And they're all friends, you know, they're all happy until they sign, and then it's
And
it's a nightmare. It's
The
a
problem is
nightmare.
they're very slick. They, you know, over the years, Jill has gotten them here or there for deficiencies in the contract, but they learned, and their contracts are pretty tight now where they're legal. The issue that we have trouble proving is the deception, because they're also very good and they don't put any of that in writing. You know, they may tell somebody on a phone call, we're going to do X, and then they do Y, but then it's he said, she said, and it's very difficult to prove.
It's really the older population that's getting taken by these. And they don't always give a copy of the contract, or maybe it comes through an email, and then they help them sign. They help them e-sign over the phone. So they're not even looking at things, because they're just skipping to signing. It's a real
That's
nightmare.
sad that
I
they're
wish it had
preying on
gone
the
the
most
other way.
vulnerable people in
Mhm.
our society. That's really
And-
It
terrible.
sounds like
And,
we can go
and
on
I agree
forever
with
on
you,
these
Peter.
complaints.
Peter, I
My main
agree.
concern
It's
is
a
this,
net.
Jill. I think my main concern, think about this for a moment. There's a lot of complaints, and I'm sure the question is that, is there agency who are constantly making the same, doing the same things over and over again? And why aren't they specifically cited? All right, I mean, it's, oh yeah, well, we'll just pay $1,000, that's it, next, we'll do it again, but there's gotta be some type of control. If it's the same agency or the same agent or the same teams, they should be actually reprimanded for that even more so.
Yeah, that's what happens. We don't see a lot of repeat offenders because we don't let that happen. You know, they may get
Okay.
a settlement the first time, they're not getting a settlement the second time for sure.
Because
know,
you know
whether it's-
something, we want them in front of us. If that's gonna happen, those are the ones we want in front of us,
Of course.
the bad guys. And that's what I
Yeah.
consider them. All right, they don't care. For $1,000, I'm off the hook, I'll do it again. They don't care. They don't care. I want them to care. We care.
Yeah.
And you should
I
care.
think it's
mean,
great that we don't have repeat offenders. It means that what you guys are doing is working. Thank God.
Yeah. And I think you should even have more. I mean, the way things are with the broker seem to be not as responsible or showing responsibility. Now, with the teams, since teams come into effect and the team member who could care less, it appears it could care less, well, then we gotta focus and concentrate on that.
Yeah, anytime we find a violation of a salesperson, we give them penalty, we actually give a larger penalty to the broker. So there's
Well,
almost
I think
never
they
a
should be-
situation where we don't penalize the broker after we
I
penalize.
think they
the
should be, they're getting away with a slap on the wrist as far as I'm concerned. On they should be aware of the fact, listen, next time we go to the commission. Get your license next time.
But yeah, that's what we do.
You can't keep buying yourself back into business. That's my opinion. Anybody else?
I agree, Ben. That's all I got.
Um, again, as we discussed last time around, the concern I have is really no transparency on these mortgage brokers or the bank or whatever, where they're approving without letting us know, letting this say a listing agent know the fact exactly what kind of financing misleading is going on. I'm not sure if I should be talking to the banking commission regarding this, but this is going on a lot, whereas especially in the market that we have right now. We still have multi offers. Everybody's trying to live cheat and whatever to get their buyers to get the house, but yet meanwhile it's misleading to the seller. And this is going on. The big one obviously is the CHFA first time buyer. All they're saying it's a conventional loan. Was because that's what CHFA is telling them. Well, I'm not sure about that either. That should be looked into too. If so, then why does it have that extra step of approval by CHFA?
What are you saying, Ben, that they're not putting like conventional CHFA, they're leaving it out?
They're leaving the CHFA portion of it out. Now, some of them, I've noticed, been using the MLS contracts. Okay, and which has no boxes regarding they can be checked off. Have you noticed that?
I haven't
if you're-
seen any.
Well, if you're getting one of those contracts, question it.
Are they allowed to leave that out? Because as you point
If
out, the
it's not- but
CHFA,
if
those are much
But if it's
tougher.
not there, if it's not in the contract, okay, then they are, I guess, they're using it.
I think it would come down to if they put in the contract a specific type of financing and then they switch and then they get denied, they have no ground to stand on, correct, Joe? Because they're getting denied on a different kind of financing than they put in the contract. So they stand to lose their deposit, in my
That's not what I
opinion.
mean, though.
Oh, okay.
I know what you're saying. I say that they're going conventional, they go to FHA. Forget about that. I'm talking about the misleading part, especially the CHFA conventional, where they don't check off the CHFA. They just check off conventional. So you as a listing, unless you ask, and I do ask, I'm sure, I hope all of you ask out there, is this CHFA any relationship to a CHFA financing?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
this is Annalisa Villard, staff attorney for the department. This came up at the last instructors meeting as well. The concern is that it's actually potentially a fair housing violation to put in the type of loan because there's concerns. And this blew up. It got very contentious at the last instructor seminar. This question of, is it misleading to not include it, or is it potentially a fair housing violation to include it because of the potential for discrimination against funding types?
Ugh.
Ridiculous.
That's crazy.
So they're saying that by checking it off, it's a fair housing issue?
Potentially, and you know, again, I'm not going to speak to it one way or the other, but the concern is because there is a fair housing violation for discrimination on the basis of funding source. In the rental context, this would be, okay, I'm not going to rent to people who are Section 8, right? And that's a violation. You can't, you know, that is a fair housing violation that CHRO would look at. And so the concern is people see CHFA and go, well, I don't want that because of the funding source. And again, Jason and Jill can certainly speak to this. There was a very strong difference of opinion over this exact issue during the instructor seminar.
But we do have, I mean, we have multi-offers today. You know, when you've got a half a dozen or more offers on a home, one may be CHFA conventional versus cash versus conventional. Okay, tell me how to handle that. Well, somebody say, oh, well, you know, you took the cash deal and you should have taken the CHFA deal, not discriminate. Is that so?
Wow.
Are you following me?
I am, and I said I don't, at this time, we don't have a good answer for this because yes, it is very case by case basis. If you are taking it because of a contract issue, that's a very different thing than taking it because you just don't want to deal with, you know, the stereotype of like the types of folks who have CHFA loans. So I can look.
But you're selling the house. You're done with it. You don't care once you're done with it what kind of person it is.
Well, here's an example of a fair housing violation that I never thought of, which is when you say something like, I want to sell a house to a young family. That is discriminating on the basis of family status or whether you have children or not. And to many of us, that's a little counterintuitive sometimes. But under the law, that is a fair housing violation to even say something like that. So there is a potential here, but how that plays out on the field but this may be why MLS just doesn't even have a box for it.
And it sounds like there aren't, we don't have a lot of case law in the books on this in this state or in other states yet.
I think you are correct about that. As I said, this came up and it sounds like it's continuing to be an issue. So it's definitely something we need to do some more research on and get a hard answer on, because there is a very strong understanding in the industry that you put in the type of loan and then folks were being told at the last seminar, no, you can't put in the type of loan because it's a fair housing violation. So it's two very diametrically opposed understandings of how this works and how it's supposed to work under the law.
So we will have guidance from the courts in time after we have a few lawsuits.
Mm.
Well, I wouldn't say in time. Anytime you involve a lawsuit, timeliness goes out the door.
Yeah.
But yes, it's something we can try to look into further and see what it is, because, or at least say, if we're going to consider it a fair housing violation, then we are not going to consider it misrepresentation. If, you know, at least say that much. And I can, let me talk to my supervisors and the real estate team and see what we can come
Because-
up with one way or another for a department policy.
Yeah, because it's not fair to who we're misleading here. Unknowingly, we're misleading our sellers. Because it turns out it was a CHFA. It turns out they were denied by CHFA, although approved by the lender. Oh, well, I didn't know. There was not, the underwriting said it was CHFA that this because of income. Too much income is the big one. So
And
I mean,
I think, no doubt, misstating what it is, you know, putting a conventional when you know it's CHFA, that's a different issue than just not saying anything. So that, you know, again, that's a concern. We don't want people lying on the form, you know, as opposed to just simply not completing that box.
So are you saying that the box, if it's a CHFA and the box says CHFA, it should be checked off?
I would need to look further into it and get back to you on that, but
I would love it.
yeah, it's a sticky issue, and I know we need to pin down an answer on this, so let me do some research and get back to you on it.
I appreciate. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Okay. All right. I think we've discussed. Anything else anybody want to add for today? Nothing at all? No problems out there? Everything's great. We still need inventory, don't we, huh? We're still low. Okay. All right, meeting's good. Thank you so much for all coming in.
Thank you.
Great to
See you,
see you
Matt.
guys.
We'll see
Thanks,
you-
everyone.
See you in a few months.
Stay warm.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.